everyone, welcome back to Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Today I thought I would bring you a video all about summer reading recommendations, and I'd like to recommend for you 7 books in 7 different genres. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Alice, and if you are new here, I talk about books and I have a giant TBR of over 200 books which I'm trying to get through. Today's video is not about my attempts to read 200 books, it's about books that I have already read and highly recommend as summer reads. To make things a bit more interesting, I thought I would make myself recommend 7 different books in 7 different genres. I hope that therefore you will be able to find something in this list that would appeal to you, that you would enjoy reading for summer. I've tried to stick to books that I think would be good to read at this time of year. They are all books that I have loved over the years. So without any further ado, let's get to the 7 different books in 7 different genres that I recommend as summer reads. And starting off, I am going to recommend you an Agatha Christie. My genre here is mysteries, and this is, I would say, quite an underrated Agatha Christie mystery. It's a standalone and it's called Why Didn't They Ask Evans, which is my all-time favourite title of an Agatha Christie book, because I just think it's so intriguing. Why Didn't They Ask Evans is currently being produced as a TV adaptation, so I also thought now would be a good time to read it before the adaptation comes out, so that you can see how great the book is before watching an adaptation. Why Didn't They Ask Evans is one of Agatha Christie's standalone mysteries, and it has a really good pairing that are investigating the mystery in this one. At the beginning, Bobby Jones is playing golf and his ball falls down a chasm in the cliff top. He sees a man dying on the rocks below and overhears his last words, "Why didn't they ask Evans?" Thus starts this mystery, and Bobby Jones is joined by a brilliant female character called Frankie, who helps him to investigate this. They're almost in the mould of Tommy and Tuppence, the two of them, but I don't believe they know each other at the beginning of this book. It's a long time since I've read it. I may reread this myself before the adaptation comes out, so if anybody would like to buddy read this with me, I would love that. I definitely remember it being one of my favourites, definitely my favourite title, and I think that you will love the characters in this one if you like other mysteries. The second category I'm going to recommend a book from is the category of thriller, and of course I've chosen a Jack Reacher book. I've chosen Die Trying by Lee Child. Really, this is representing all of Jack Reacher. I could have picked any of them. My actual favourite is 61 Hours, but 61 Hours is set in a very cold climate, so I thought this one would be better as it's set in a warmer climate and would make a better summer read because of that. Die Trying is the second Jack Reacher book, and again I could have chosen the first one, Killing Floor, which is another of my favourites. I read this first of all the Jack Reachers that I read, and I think you can read them really in any order. Die Trying has a great blurb which goes like this: Jack Reacher, alone, strolling nowhere. A Chicago street in bright sunshine. A young woman struggling on crutches. He offers her a steadying arm and turns to see a handgun aimed at his stomach. Chained in a dark van racing across America, Reacher doesn't know why they've been kidnapped. The woman claims to be FBI. She's certainly tough enough, but at their remote destination, will raw courage be enough to overcome the hopeless odds? I'm never disappointed with Jack Reacher books. They're very fast-paced. If you're in search of a fast-paced thriller for summer, I highly recommend picking up any of Lee Child's books, but Die Trying in particular is a very good one. The third category I'm going to recommend from is children's. I've cheated a little bit because this is a series, but I highly recommend this series, and I never hear it talked about. It is a wonderful sort of children's fantasy series. I would say that this is probably more suitable for young adults, but I did have it read to me as a child. I would say it's maybe middle grade, but there are some very frightening bits, and that's the Dark is Rising series by Susan Cooper. Absolutely love this series so much. It's 5 books and it starts with Oversea Understone, which I highly recommend as a summer read. It brilliantly sets up a fascinating mystery, and the books go on to become darker and darker and draw us into more of a fantasy as we go. The second book in the series is called The Dark is Rising, but I do recommend reading these ones in order. They're very old books, but I don't feel that these books get enough press at all. I never hear people talking about this series, and I think it would be perfect for fans of the His Dark Materials trilogy. If you like those, you are sure to like the Dark is Rising sequence. Definitely check out Oversea Understone and The Dark is Rising, and then there are 3 more books for you to enjoy, so you could spend your whole summer on this series. They're very short, so you probably won't spend your whole summer on them, but once you've read 1 or 2, I think you'll definitely want more. So if you're into children's, young adults, fantasy-esque series, you cannot go wrong with the Dark is Rising sequence by Susan Cooper. My 4th genre is going to be horror, and I'm going to recommend the book Cell by Stephen King. Cell is a book that I read quite some time ago. It's all about a terrifying event where people's mobile phones do something to them. The people who are on their phones or using their phones at the time all basically go mad and start killing. Cell is a very readable and gripping book in my opinion, and it follows Clay, who is a graphic artist, and he's trying to avoid being killed in the chaos that ensues after the cell phone event. One of the other side characters is called Alice, and I really enjoyed her character. She's a teenage girl. Yeah, I'm not going to say too much more about Cell because I don't want to spoil it for people who do want to read it. Don't know if you'd agree with me that it is a horror, but I think it probably is. I really love this Stephen King book. So yeah, that's my recommendation for horror. My next recommendation is a very suspenseful crime book, different from mystery, which was my Agatha Christie pick, and that is Blue Monday by Nikki French. I've spoken about this Nikki French series before. It begins with Blue Monday, and there are 8 books in the series. It ends with The Day of the Dead, and all of the other titles have a weekday in the title, working their way through the week. You do need to read these in order, so definitely start with Blue Monday. They're all about Frida Klein, who is a London-based psychotherapist, and she gets involved with a police case in this book and gets involved with someone who will cause problems in her life for a long time to come. There's a great cast of supporting characters to these books. They're so well written by Nikki French, which is a husband and wife writing team. I can't recommend these highly enough. I would describe these as crime. They're a bit more into the crime category than Nikki French's other books, which I would say are more sort of psychological thrillers, but I would classify these as crime. They are very enjoyable reads. If you start Blue Monday, I can almost guarantee you'll be so hooked you'll be reading the other books, and you might even fill your whole summer with them. Give Blue Monday a try if you're looking for a crime series to really sink your teeth into. The next book on my list is fiction, and this is the debut novel of Diana Evans, 26A. Again, I read this a very long time ago, but it became one of my favourite straightforward fiction books that I've ever read, and it's about identical twins Georgia and Bessie who live in the loft of 26 Wayfair Avenue. It's basically a story about their childhood and upbringing and then what happens next. It's a very moving book. If you like sort of family sagas and moving literary fiction, I would highly recommend 26A. I might have to reread this myself as well because I remember being very fond of this. There's a lot of family drama in this one, and it's a really enjoyable read, so I highly recommend this as your fiction read for summer. Right, last but not least on my list, my favourite book on this list is a dystopia, a post-apocalyptic fiction. This is The End of the World Running Club. I've read this book twice in the space of a few years, and I would happily read it again today. It's so good. It's by Adrian J. Walker, and this is the story of Edgar Hill, and an apocalyptic event occurs at the beginning of this book, and shortly after the apocalyptic event, Ed finds himself separated from his family, and he ends up trying to get to the other end of the country by running. It's ridiculously gripping, this book. Edgar is a real anti-hero and he's very aware of his own flaws, which is what I liked about him. He knows he's not a good father, he knows he's not a good husband, and he knows he has failed his family. But his progress over the course of the book is just fantastic. You go from not really liking him very much to rooting for him completely by the end. This book is so easy to read and such a well-written, fast-paced, dystopian, post-apocalyptic type book. Definitely my favourite of all the post-apocalyptic dystopian fiction that I've read. It's so brilliant. I read it again within a couple of years and I've recommended this to anybody who will listen. It does have some very dark elements, as you would expect from a post-apocalyptic type event, but I still highly recommend this, and it would make a good summer read because it's easy to read and it's so enjoyable. You will get through this very quickly. Can't recommend this one highly enough, so this is my final choice for my summer reads, and yeah, read it. Thanks for watching today. That was my 7 summer reads in 7 different genres. I hope you've seen something in this video that you would like to read. If you have, please let me know in the comments below which one you think might be for you. And if you do read any of these over the summer, please come back and let me know what you thought. There's 7 very different books to explore on this list. In fact, a couple of them were part of series, so lots and lots of summer reads for you. I hope you've enjoyed my recommendations, and if you would like to know anything else about any of the books before committing to them, please do ask and I will try to answer. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a like. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. I love talking about books and recommending books. I hope you'll check out some of my other videos. I hope you'll find some really good summer reads, whatever you're reading, and that we can enjoy some time reading in the sunshine when it finally comes. Here in England we've had very bad weather lately, so I'm hoping for it to perk up. I hope you'll join me again soon for another video all about books on Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Bye for now.